Cyber attacks threaten us all. www.cnh.com. Cyber attacks threaten us all. Computer systems from Ukraine to the US and India too were hit Tuesday, Wednesday in a second cyber attack, similar to the WannaCry assault that crippled machines worldwide in May. Ransomware known as Petrap was the culprit that hit systems, including its container giant Maersk Group, which operates gateway terminals India at Jawaharlal Nehru Port Trust. India is more vulnerable as not all systems and antivirus programs are licensed and they may be compromised more easily by stray or planned attacks, which are only going to increase in future. Now cybercriminals have found a way to monetize their attacks. Today's connected world is in greater peril. A possible solution is to act with alacrity on every patch put out by tech giants like Microsoft and security firms, but then most computer users are notoriously lax about security. The intriguing aspect of these widespread attacks is that the attackers used the same US National Security Agency hacking tool called Eternal Blue. This raises questions on whether the NSA can help defuse the situation by letting everyone know how to handle the hacking tools it may have unleashed, perhaps unwittingly, to the cyber criminals. The NSA may not be able to acknowledge the role its shadowy operations played, with the world held to Bitcoin ransom, but the least it can do is to direct major players in the right direction to overcome the distress caused by the cyber attacks. How perilous these attacks are getting was made obvious by nuclear power stations switching to manual monitoring of radiation levels. These attacks endanger us all. Comments. Visit website. India, China need to resolve spat quietly. www.cnh.com. India, China need to resolve spat quietly. The face-off between Indian and Chinese soldiers in the Dokla area in Sikkim of the India-Bhutan-Tibet tri-junction, ongoing since late last week, showed no signs of abating on Tuesday as the Chinese Foreign Ministry angrily held Indian soldiers responsible for the impasse. India's External Affairs Ministry is yet to go on record, suggesting it may not be interested in ratcheting up a war of words as it seeks a behind-the-scenes working dialogue with Beijing. This is a mature approach. In an interview, Army Chief Gen. Bipin Rawat has also sought to downplay the friction, saying Chinese soldiers had not crossed the line of actual control at Nathula Pass, although this has been the narrative in our media. Where, then, is the problem? It is Beijing's case that Indian soldiers crossed the lake to obstruct Chinese road building near the perceived border. Quoting sources, the Indian media reported that Chinese soldiers had crossed over to the Indian side and broke up soldiers' bunkers. Our soldiers had to form a human wall to prevent the situation deteriorating, but there was pushing and shoving and scuffling. An angry Beijing has stopped Indian pilgrims going to Mansarovar through the motorable Nathula route until the security situation improves. This is understandable. Civilians should not hang around if the border is tense. However, Beijing could have avoided abrasiveness in its approach. Of late it has been feeding the Communist Party's English daily Global Times, which has emerged as a vehicle of crass propaganda, and raising the pitch when there is the smallest difference of perception. It is laughable that the Chinese side should object to the Indian protests over their road building, if there was any. We have seen lately that scarcely a day passes when the Chinese do not shoot off statements warning India not to build roads and bridges on its own side of the border. China is a powerful country. It does not behoove it to act so insecure. The equilibrium in Sino-Indian relations has been disturbed in recent times. New Delhi is upset with Beijing for blocking, at Pakistan's behest, the Indian requested the UN to declare Pakistani terrorist Masood Azhar a global terrorist so that he may be sanctioned. India is also unhappy that China is using its veto against India joining the nuclear suppliers group. Lately, China has also got rattled by the Indian opposition to One Belt One Road, its geopolitical leverage-seeking effort through infrastructure building, with the United States agreeing with India that connectivity should not mean transgressing the sovereignty of nations, as China's road building is doing in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. The Chinese appear even more bitter. Let the two foreign ministries find less dramatic ways to talk things over instead of plastering the media with propaganda. Comments. Visit website.